So let's get right to it. Why have I not been posting Payday? Why have I not been streaming Payday? And why haven't I done this or that in Payday 2? If you have something remotely related to the question at hand, this video is for you. Long story short, I'll do Payday videos or streams when I feel like it, when I have something to do. It comes when it comes, and asking for it won't help. Now, that's a pretty vague answer, so if you're willing to listen for more than a couple of seconds, allow me to elaborate. Payday 2, is a game that came out on August 13, 2013. At least that's what it says on Steam. So as of making this video, this game is over 3 years old, and I'm making this on August 29th, 2016. So personally, on my Steam profile, I have just about 3,000 hours invested into the game. A little bit shy, I'm rounding up, but I'm only a couple dozen away. And these hours aren't just for show, like my TF2 ones where, say, a large portion of it probably is invested in idle servers. This is also not including time played in the beta or the first game. Of the series? No, I don't, the first game, fucking Payday the Heist. I've invested some time into those as well. Not that much, but I guess it's still worth mentioning. So, I've played the game a shit ton. I've done a lot of stuff, and I mean a lot of stuff. I've played every map, probably a dozen times over. I've completed every achievement. I've used so many different weapon and skill setups that it'd be hard to find one that I haven't done. At this point, there's not much left for me that I want to do in the game, and I'm really just waiting for new content to bring me back in. Something else to mention is that another large factor that goes into my playtime for, well, not only Payday, but just any game, is playing with friends. Well, I guess not single-player games, but I mean, you get the idea. Being able to play with friends makes anything fun, whether the game is good, or it's bad, or even if I've played a shit ton of it. With Payday in particular, even now, I've got no problem hopping onto the game if some friends want to play it, and all they want to do is menial shit like grind EXP or get achievements that I've gotten like 3 times before. But like anything else, life tends to get in the way. Work, school, whatever it may be, a lot of stuff takes precedent over a simple hobby, and a lot of them end up being too busy to play with me. Or in a similar sense, they too have played a lot of Payday and they're really just waiting for new updates. So without people to play with, I've got even less desire to do so myself. Plus, as any natural gamer, other games interest me as well, though some of you may not believe that. So right now you might be saying, but wait, I have an answer to all your problems. All you gotta do is take suggestions from people, or reset your account, or reset your achievements, or add viewers to play with, or just play public games. Well, let's break this down slowly. First, there's no denying that I get plenty of suggestions on more stuff to do. In fact, there's so many that I'd probably be stuck playing Payday for a really long time. But rarely are these suggestions things I want to do, and what I mean by that is something that I would find fun to do, or at least interesting, you know? I've seen many of the same suggestions over and over, and quite honestly, I'm not really looking for suggestions. Most of what I've done is from my own creativity, and like I said, it's pretty rare for me to find a suggestion that I really want to attempt. As for finding new people to play with, that's always easier said than done. It may be a bit presumptuous of me to say this, but I feel like there'd be plenty of viewers that wouldn't mind playing together. I'm sure there's plenty of nice folk among you, but if my recent, well, for lack of a better term, drama video has shown us anything, it's that there's always going to be bad eggs among the bunch. Leechers, liars, what have you. I've dealt with enough to leave a sour taste in my mouth. So nothing really personally against anyone in particular, but to be frank, I'd rather just not have to deal with other people. Of course, I could just play pubs more too, but I dread playing pubs, I'm sure many of you do. There's always a pretty good chance of running into some rude, obnoxious people. And what's even more likely is running into people using what I like to call game-ruining mods, which tends to be a lot more common these days. And what I mean by that is people using mods that affect the gameplay in either marginal or substantial ways, usually on the justification that these fix the game, or that it makes it more fun. You know, to each their own. But I don't like my game being controlled by the whims of someone else, regardless of how great this person thinks the mod they have is. And to be completely honest, I've very little faith left in our quote-unquote community. Me doing what I do attracts a lot of attention, not all of it good. Of course, that's pretty expected, that's just kind of the deal you get when you do stuff like this. But that doesn't make it any less annoying to deal with though. plus with stuff like the Black Market update and the recent happenings, I've seen a lot of people's true colors over the years. And for those of you in the know, you guys have had a taste of what these people are like that would go through any lengths to try to get at me. So hopefully you guys can understand why I prefer to keep to myself. Some people take my inactivity with Payday as some formal statement that I'm done with the game or that I dislike it. Like all those Steam reviews like, oh, I don't want to play the game anymore, Black Market update, so terrible, and then they're playing it a few months later. Yeah, those are funny. Don't get me wrong, I still very much hold the game in high regard. Just because I haven't done anything doesn't change that. I mean, for me, objectively speaking, it'll always be a solid game. Enjoyable PvE-focused gameplay, what it lacks in visuals and story, makes up for in replayability. It's got a relatively non-frustrating leveling system. Loot system is a little annoying, but not overly so. It can be kind of beat and cheese if you know how to do it. The huge variety in weapons and skills makes for nearly endless combinations that you can play with. Maps that can be done in multiple ways and even different methods, further adding to replayability. And the frequent content being added to the game on a near monthly basis is a nice touch as well. And though I've never been too fond of the way DLCs are handled, because I'd much rather pay for a season pass so I don't have to worry about buying stuff constantly, I do like some of the way the added content is handled. In particular, the DLC maps. The maps are playable by all, even those that don't own it. The only thing is you can't host it. And that was something I really liked, since most games I played before that tend to split the community into those that have the DLC and those that don't. So I could have a friend that has the new maps and, I don't have the new maps and we couldn't play together, which is pretty dumb. Weapon packs and stuff like that, well, the earliest ones were pretty powerful. The further you go on in the game's life cycle, the less and less DLCs are quote-unquote required, as many of you would put it. And I've always compared owning DLC and the vanilla game to an escalator and the stairs. They'll both take you to your destination. With one, you just gotta put in some more effort. To me, most of the weapon packs and stuff like that are just more for variety and replayability more than anything else. Some will try their hardest to argue this. I'm not gonna waste my breath on those people. If nothing else, my time invested is a pretty good testament of the game's enjoyability. The rough patches in the game hasn't really bothered me much, as I explained in the other video. What actually bothers me is just about everything else, but I could rant about it all day. In reality, I still very much like the game, and I'm always more than willing to do stuff if I find something to do. Or as I mentioned, hop on new updates and see what's up. I mean, at the core of it, all I'm asking is for you to understand that I just want to do my own thing. When I want to play Payday, or if I find something I want to do or make in Payday, I'll play it and make videos of it. When I want to do other stuff, then I will. It's not like I started my channel with one game in mind or something, and it's not like I advertise myself as a Payday channel. I never have, and I never will. Why I started my channel is pretty simple. I just wanted to make stuff that could be enjoyed. Real reason why I started my channel was way back in the days of early YouTube Halo 2 videos. Oh god, those were great. People used to make a lot of stuff in that game. Montages, those glitching tutorials, man, I love those things. You name it. There's a lot of stuff back then. The things that really stuck out to me, though, weren't the stuff like those fancy skill montages, getting the Kilimanjaros and stuff, but it was those really goofy ones. I don't even know what you'd call them. It'd be hard to look up. But it was just funny stuff happening, man. Like people suiciding in outrageous ways, doing crazy stunts with vehicles, getting a whole bunch of people to collaborate to do something, God knows what. Those videos were really what got me started. Because for one, they were the most entertaining to me, personally. I got many a good laugh out of them. And more importantly, at the time, I knew that unlike those other fancy videos, this is something that I can do. This is like, I could say, this happens to me sometimes. I could just record it and share it with people. And that's really why I started, way back when. Now, I won't have the gall to call myself a veteran YouTuber. That's not really a title I think anyone ever really achieves. But I guess what I'm saying is, what I do and what I want to do hasn't really changed all those years. Of course, I've done a lot more in that time, but at the core of it, that's all I really want to do. Whatever tickles my fancy, whatever I feel like making, and on and on and on. I just want to do me, that's it. And now we've come to the big reason as to why I'm making this video. There's no doubt Payday has had a large influence on my channel. I would not be where I am if it were not for this game. And of course, the majority of the people that come here, or that know my name, know it in conjunction with Payday. So it's natural for people to want me to post Payday videos or do Payday streams. While I've given you some of the reasons as to why I haven't, I completely understand that what you want may not be what I'm providing. Some become very vocal about it. In essence, I get a lot of people asking me to post more Payday related content, or, something related to that notion. And the problem that I have with that is the frequency of it, and quite frankly, the large amount of people being rude regarding it. You've probably noticed that when I post a video or stream a game that isn't Payday, you'll see a number of people asking for Payday in some way or form, or trying their very hardest to relate or mention Payday. It's a pretty recurring thing, and quite frankly, it's annoying. To the outside perspective, it's not really that bad. You could argue that I'm just complaining a bunch, that should be easy to ignore, that I should be used to it by now. True, it's not really that bad, but when it happens on every video, every stream, in my private messages, in my emails, basically anywhere, you can kind of see me getting tired of it. Not only that, but like I said, oftentimes people are incredibly rude about it. Oh, this video sucks. Play Payday. You suck at this game. Play Payday. This is boring. Where's Payday? And what doesn't make sense to me is how people think being rude will actually be more effective than being polite. Of course, some people go the other route. They'll try to convince me, like a teacher would trying to convince a child to do homework. You should play Payday because it gets you the most views. You should play Payday because people here sub for Payday, and you should go do that. Like, you don't think I know this? I can see my own analytics on YouTube and Twitch. I know better than anyone else on these things. Of course, a while back, I got sick of everything from people, so I ended up policing my own comments. Now, you won't see a lot of it, and since then, I've pretty much given up caring at all. But I sure did get a lot, and even now, it's pretty common. At this point, I'm just steaming my beans, but I'm starting to run out of beans to steam. This isn't so bad in regards to the YouTube stuff or personal message. It's not terrible, but when it comes to Twitch streaming, it's incredibly troublesome. I mean, the whole point of streaming is to interact with the people chatting, but when all I get are Payday requests when I'm playing games that are not Payday, or a bunch of people trying to bring up Payday with every fiber there being, it kind of makes it hard for me to enjoy what I'm doing. If I may also add, this is on top of the stuff that I would normally get. And what I mean by that is, I've been getting a lot of the same stuff sent to me for years now. The same messages, the same requests, the same questions, the same complaints. And, while it's nice to see people so passionate about the game and stuff related to it, it doesn't make it any easier when it's seen day in and day out. Not to mention when I've answered the same thing over and over. Hell, I even made like an FAQ for this kind of stuff. Though if I may, there is one common inquiry that I do have a lot of beef with. Basically, the console stuff. Anything I get console complaints, people asking when it's updated, general things regarding console. I mean, let me just lay it out for people. I play on PC. I'm not going to play on console, because I don't have a console, or one of the current consoles. I have older consoles, but I'm not going to buy the game for the consoles. When I already have it on PC, there's no point. I'm not going to waste my money there. And, a lot of people want me to post stuff that's, relevant for console Payday. There's pretty much no need for that. When, there are older Payday videos that don't have the newest updates, that's kind of the same deal. The only difference is I'm playing on a different console, or platform, rather. And a lot of people will also ask if I have opinions on console Payday. This one strikes me as odd, because I don't even get this question. It's like, am I supposed to have opinions on it? I mean, you play on a console. I don't know. I don't have the opinions. That's my answer. And like I mentioned before, I'm not affiliated with Overkill. I can't help you guys get more updates for consoles. I know it sucks not getting all the new stuff, but like these things are out of my control. Alright, so, I digress. Like I said, while supremely annoying, none of these things I've mentioned are actually really big problems. But the thing is, I've repeated myself so many times that I'm starting to sound like a broken record. And after seeing the same stuff day in, day out, my daily life is starting to look like a giant rerun. So much so that I felt the need to make a video of it, to get it to the most eyes and ears I can. The thing is, it's one thing to have to deal with the people that don't like me out there. But when I gotta worry about my own viewers and fans as a source of my own frustrations, then, we've got a little bit of a problem. Because the worst part is, I know most of you don't mean any harm. You're just asking for what you want. It's not like you guys are intentionally doing anything bad. I mean, at the end of the day, I just gotta do my own thing and hope all goes well. If people stick around, they do. If not, move on. There's a lot of people that message me things other than requested questions. I do get a lot of nice messages from people. Quite thankful for those. And while I appreciate them, normally they're along the lines of, I like your Payday videos. I like what you've done at Payday. it's always prefaced with Payday. And while it's not a bad thing, one day I'd love for it to be, I just dig what you do and not have it always be related with Payday. Of course, this is something I can wish for all I want, but something I gotta work for, and I am. I always will be. What makes working for it hard, though, is pretty much everything I discussed in this video, hence why I made it. I mean, realistically speaking, I have very little reason not to post Payday. I do make money off my videos. That's how I'm able to keep creating content without needing to find myself a job. Of course, what I make is sometimes grossly over-exaggerated. I only make as much as like a part-time worker in California. Pretty relaxed, not a lot of days put in part-time worker, but you get the idea. Of course, Payday gets the most activity, relatively speaking, and in regards to my channel, most of its growth comes from Payday. But all that be damned if I don't have the peace of mind to do what I want to do. If I ain't enjoying myself, what the hell's the point? At the end of the day, that's really what it's all about, isn't it? Just enjoying games. And hopefully, now that I've given my reasonings for doing what I am doing, hopefully more people will understand my position. And while I'd love to ask people to be more considerate when they comment, message, or chat me the aforementioned things, the pessimist in me says that it won't really happen. I mean, the people this video is directed at is a pretty small target audience, and they probably won't see it to begin with. But I guess for every person that this does reach out to, it's been worthwhile to make. And to be honest, thinking back on what I said, this is the most pointless video ever. All I said was I'm just gonna keep doing what I'm doing. If nothing else, this video serves two purposes. First, it clears up any rumors or misunderstandings on the topic at hand. I see a lot of incorrect assumptions being made about what I do or what I'm doing, so hopefully this helps out with that. And secondly, this has been extremely cathartic. I mean, making this felt good. Even though there'd be a lot more I'd like to say, but probably shouldn't, y'all will be here forever. This video got pretty ranty, probably not super coherent or well thought out. The rum and coke I had before this probably doesn't help, but regardless, I'd like to thank those of you that would lend me your ears. And don't get me wrong, I'm very thankful for what I have. Despite a lot of the negative stuff I've been talking about, it ain't all doom and gloom, though it may feel that way sometimes. It's not every day you run into someone that says, oh yeah, what I do is play video games for a living. I wouldn't be where I am without a lot of support for people. I've met a lot of really cool people, some I'd call close friends now. There's plenty of cool community people just looking to enjoy the game and make stuff for others, whether it's mods, dank memes, what have you. I've had some pretty awesome experiences, like going to Seattle just to go to the mini convention for Payday 2. Getting to meet the devs, also getting to see all those people there hanging out just because of a similar interest. There's always the flip side, there's always plenty of people I wish I never had met, but in that regard, the negative stuff is somewhat reassuring in and of itself. It's kind of reminiscent of a video game. When you run into enemies, you're probably going the right way. Things won't always be smooth, I know that well. But despite all that, this is not something a lot of people get to experience. I'm pretty grateful for what I've been given. And while I did put in a lot of work and persisted to make what I have, there's no denying that a lot of it has to do with luck and factors that are outside of my control. At the end of the day, I just like to be me and do what I do, whatever that may be. Hell, even I couldn't tell you what that is exactly.